that IMRFCD, that's just something like this. It threw me off when it's called that. I'm like, is it just, it's just a city, basically. Okay.
Just they must have had money back then. They just decided to save it, you know, put it back. And
even if it's labeled IMRF, that doesn't mean it's like for. Or is it, or I mean, is it kind of intended for that?
I would say that's what
okay.
it's for.
Gotcha.
There's seats in here. Tell them there's seats in here.
I got gas.
Then I want you in here.
Yeah, please stay out there.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, after you guys left this afternoon, and then I didn't get the sign turned around, Blum came in and just wanted to, he said, just please tell the city council. And I'm like, he goes, just thanks for picking up my leaves. I said, you mean the workers? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, you know, it's not perfect, but tell them thanks anyway. He goes, now to park there.
I know, we did it with a backhoe in a truck.
Do what?
We didn't vac them, we did it with a backhoe in a truck.
Because I noticed that like everything else around him was like still. Because well, it's not perfect. I said, it's not going to be.
No, so nothing is.
Do it yourself then.
Exactly. Get used to it. What do you say? Do it yourself then. Yes.
You don't like the way it's done?
It was going to be just like.
It was going to what?
They sent us a bill for doing it.
We'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Alderman Knauer.
Here.
Maxheimer. Yes. Burmeister.
Since this is a voting meeting, we'll go ahead and say the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I am going to skip down to the miscellaneous part of the agenda on the alderman appointment, as we have an empty alderman seat. What did I do with that? I have a note somewhere. I might have to go find that. Let me go do that.
Matt, it's your meeting to run, but given the nature of the situation, can we discuss the zoning request first?
Yes.
Your decision, just like.
We can do that. That's fine. Yes, Melinda and Chris asked to be on the speaker sign up to discuss the topic of zoning concerns. We can move down forward from there. That's fine. At that point, Chris and Melinda, I'll give you guys the floor again.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so last meeting of City Council, we approached Chris and I about having 5.52 acres rezoned, 4 acres of it be rezoned to commercial and 1.52 acres residential. And so it was advised of the council to go to the zoning committee to look at by them. Last night was the meeting, and at that meeting we had the zoning committee along with the economic development committee, so both of them were together last night. So we presented in writing what our proposal was for the commercialized portion of it, what was going to go up on the storage units, and what was going to be involved with that. We went ahead and proposed that, and then we left the meeting. An hour after that, we had found out that there was a flyer that was distributed around the residents that were living around the 5 acres. And it was pretty much telling them that Chris and I were looking at rezoning this property. And I will pass it on the flyer that was passed out. And it was given to each one, and it was written by the member of the zoning board, Tim Embrick, along with the, he's also on the committee for the Economic Development Committee. He states in there that he's worried that it's going to bring down the property value, that it could be a junkyard, and we don't know it's going to be a heavy business, a lot of traffic. At this time, when we read that, we feel that it's being kind of slander against us, since he's on both committees, that we're getting not fair treatment and looking at what our plans are. We have not even purchased this property yet, and this is going out to the residents around that property. So with deciding this, what we are asking is to bypass the zoning committee and bring it into your hands.
I don't know if bypassing the zoning committee is an option. We will look into that.
I don't know if somebody can take that copy and maybe read the first paragraph up top there out loud so everybody can hear it.
It's out there. Please be aware that Chris Walsh and Melinda Scott have requested at the City Council meeting of November 13th to change the zoning of property adjacent to yours from residential to commercial. They stated that their intentions was to acquire the property to build a house and start a self-storage business on the 5 acres. The only written part of their proposal is shown below.
I think there's a couple lines at the very bottom of that page.
As you can see, this proposal is short on specific details and long on promises. When rezoned, the city and us lose any control of what the property can be used for, such as a junkyard or a busy commercial business. If this proposed change is approved, it will change our neighborhood's character and lower our property values. If you are concerned, as myself and my wife, is going to contact the mayor and the city council alderman and let them know your thoughts.
So what was the recommendation from the board?
They were presented the proposal last night, and they're going to have some time to ponder, and they meet again on December 18th.
So there's no answer for that?
There's no answer from them yet, no.
Is that the normal procedure to have a hearing and then another meeting later? I know in the past that I've been to, it's always been a one meeting.
All it says is to hear and decide. It doesn't really put an ironclad procedure to follow. It does say to hear and decide on applications for variations from the regulations and restrictions imposed by the zoning title and on the manner and subject to the standards set forth in Title 10, Chapter 11 of this code. That being said, I'm not aware that it can bypass the zoning board. In the final 2 decisions, it says all decisions of the zoning board of appeals or on appeal or upon application for a variation of the zoning regulations shall in all instances be final administrative determination and shall be subject to review by a court in the manner provided by applicable Illinois statutes. On the conflict of interest determined with Tim obviously living in that area, it says each member is entitled to a vote on every question unless a member is absent. It doesn't say anything about a conflict of interest refraining them from a vote.
We just kind of feel that we're with this, obviously with his statement of it being a junkyard and whatnot. He's got a personal interest in it, which, we were going to build a house next to his and then have the commercial property behind it. So he does have a large personal interest in it. And I just think his vote would be swayed the wrong way if he's allowed to vote on the committees to, you know, to vote on the zoning. So I don't really think that we're having a fair go at it. And we've already got one of the 4 members that's totally against it by putting a flyer out. And, you know, he is on both committees. He's on the Future Development Committee and then he's on the Zoning Committee, so.
So the Future Development Committee has really nothing to do with the zoning, and really their whole business or purpose is to help businesses grow, and that's what they're there for. My personal take on it is that it was, I feel that Tim is certainly allowed his opinion, and that's good. He is a citizen of the town, but I think it's a fine line between going too far and trying to use, I don't know, it's one of those things that you just have to be very careful about, and I think it did go too far, is my personal opinion. But as far as how we proceed, I don't know.
I personally feel if you're gonna be represent as a member of the city, then you need to be professional and go forth. And when you start putting out flyers to the other residents, then, you know, and start putting this, then you're going above and beyond. That's me personally.
Were these flyers?
Has, yes, they did. Yes, they did. And last night's meeting, we passed this out, and so is this going to be photocopied and added something on here about?
All documents will be kept on file, yes.
Well, I'm saying, is it going to be, from the meeting last night, is it going to be photocopied and put in as a flyer and sent out to these same residents again?
I was just looking at that again, so,
No, I'm just saying, like.
right, no, that's a great question,
Is
and
something
I'll
else
address it.
going to be?
In the
going
zoning
against
board
this,
ordinance 2-1-7, the secretary of the board, the duties of the secretary of the board shall be number 3. Furnish members of the public with such forms for appeals and applications for variations as are approved by the board. You know, to furnish members of the public with such forms as we see without the approval of the zoning board may be an error. I would call it that it is an error on that subject. Receive on behalf of the board. Is there any other opinions from the alderman?
I would think that this, going back to that and going back to the zoning board, that they would have to pass on this. I really do.
I would think so. I mean,
I would think they would.
That would only be the fair thing, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't think we can do anything really until we hear.
Yeah, I think it's just on hold.
I think it is the duty of the zoning board to, there was a map presented with a verbal presentation. I think it's the duty of the zoning board secretary, whoever that may be, to furnish the members of the public the second form, which includes the scope of the project.
Yes.
I can definitely ask them to do that. And it is also the city's responsibility to make aware the zoning board of the actions that have been taken here in the last couple of days. Again, we can't overdo their jurisdiction just yet. It is still up to the zoning board of appeals. They require a quorum of 4 people with a majority vote to pass this. It also says there should be 6 members. I talked to you about that last night. I don't think it's wise to appoint 2 members to fill the extra 2 seats while there's while there's matters of business on the table. I would say with the in my personal opinion, with what was circulated before the zoning board was able to hear your presentation, I would ask for a cease and desist on those flyers, if we could, please. And I'd also like the zoning board to get a copy of that flyer and a copy of the scope of the project, which was added to the proposal.
Yeah, they all received a copy.
Okay, good. Oh, yeah, they got one last night.
Yeah,
didn't
they all
Okay.
received one last night.
That is my recommendation, and I think that we should move forward with that. Anyone have any comments on that?
Sounds good.
All we're trying to do is just follow the process and procedure on, and like they wanted to collaborate the two together and have a meeting together, and which initially I think everybody just kind of said it all just has to deal with the zoning, right?
That's the way I read it, yes.
So, I mean, I just kind of feel like we're getting run around and we're already kind of got one foot in a hole, so to speak, with,
Right.
so. I know the city council has the ultimate and final decision, so if they did say no, that we're not gonna zone a commercial, you guys do have the final say so. So hopefully we'll get a fair statement from the city board. That's all we're really asking for.
And we respect your request. You deserve that, for sure.
Fair judgment.
Anyone have anything else to add to this?
So we'll go back to the zoning board will finish and make a recommendation at their next meeting.
I would, unless they require more information, there is no timetable. The only thing that it says is that the zoning board will respond in a timely manner. I think that we're currently responding in a timely manner to your request. You requested it 2 weeks ago. You were at a meeting last night. The zoning board's heard your proposal. I think that we're covering our tracks on that, so.
I guess, last night at the meeting, Tim did want a little more detailed map. So we obviously can produce that, submit that on the 18th at the final decision, so they can look at the detailed map and I guess see the way we have the buildings laid out on, for the storage area on the commercial side of it.
Right.
And as of this time, there's no question at all with the residential part of it, as far as, being able to build.
Residential, so if you buy that property, you can build your house in any manner fit, as long as it's up to city code.
So it's just all really over the commercial part of it then.
Yes, it would be just the 4 acres, which would be under discussion.
So I guess with that on December 18th at 6:30, and we'll have to present a little more detailed map.
I would suggest giving it to them before that,
Okay.
just my personal opinion, that way they have some time to look over it. The sooner you get them the information of what your plan is, the better they can, evaluate it and have questions in hand. Okay. Moving on, I printed off something from Mr. Klein. I would like to go to the Alderman appointment. I, for some reason, don't have it. Did you find it? As there is an empty Alderman seat in Ward 1 with the City Council's approval and consent, I would like to appoint Tim Emmerich to the position of Alderman. I would entertain a motion at this time. If not, we will address this at a later time.
Has there been any, last time we had an appointment, we kind of advertised, whoever's interested, come put in a thing. I don't believe we've done that this time.
So there was,
Try to find interested
there was 4 people that were interested last time. 2 of them turned in a statement of interest. It was pretty much a split decision. Mr. Barger won by just 1 vote. I did ask the other 2 people that were interested the first time that came to the meeting. They were not. If you guys think that we should do that, you have to consent to this. So the only reason I went this route is because Tim had votes the first time and he's willing to do it, so that's why I went that route. If we would like to wait to see if anyone else is interested in this ward.
I'm just one person, I don't want to speak for the whole council, so somebody else has to, but let's share. Is anybody running for election? Do we know if anybody's on the ballot for that ward?
The only person that I know that's filled out that's picked up a packet is Tim. If there is no motion to appoint at this time, this matter will be tabled. I would entertain a motion to table.
I'll make a motion to table the alderman appointment.
Motion made, second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Joyce. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. The alderman appointment will be tabled to the December 12th meeting. Is that correct? Back up to the top of the agenda. Is there any public comments on the agenda items? No. For the committee reports, police?
Everything's going pretty good right now, so I really have
One thing, I know you sent a couple of emails out to everybody, like, I really like those. I think it's a good visibility thing, keep people in touch with you. I think it's great, so, thank you.
In the school board meeting the other night, and they were talking about getting some cameras. Have you heard anything about that or
Yes,
talked with
Gene
you
and
about
I
that?
have talked about it because of this.
Do you know very much about it, or can you update us on that? Or all he did was give a proposal to the board, with figures and dollars,
Right.
and the cameras can see oncoming traffic and catch the plate. Is that correct?
That's the way I understand. I don't know if there's one up front or one in the front and back. I can't remember exactly. But like we always tell everybody that I've got a vehicle, it's went past. We gotta get that plate number, because if you don't have that plate number, I mean,
Right.
if I just got a vague description, it's hard to pursue that. And I think that's what they're wanting to do, is get that camera, so if they don't catch it right away, they can go back, this is the plate, this is the vehicle, and then we can pursue going forward.
Any idea, do you see any of the figures of what that would cost to do that?
I was thinking, he told me it was about 20,000, 25,000.
Is that for the
But
whole-
that's for all the buses.
For the whole fleet?
Yes. I think that's what Gene was telling me at the time,
Gotcha.
so.
That's up for them to decide. Just,
Right, right. I just know
It
that,
concerns you, so I thought it,
and I've been trying to, like in the mornings, when I get down 121, I know we've got 3 or 4 pickups down there. I'll sit behind the bus and just, be present.
right, being present's a big deal.
Yeah. So, and after school as well, just being around, being seen. So,
Gotcha. Anyone else have anything for Tony or the police committee? Water and sewer?
don't have a lot to report there. Approached by a different chemical supplier. I'm thinking about doing a little study with them and see if we can save a few dollars there. I'm sure everybody's aware of Lincoln's ongoing issues with water the past few days. I received a call the other night that they needed some bulk water for the hospital, and they come over here and got that from us, and we took care of them. I told them they could pretty well have what they needed. They only ended up getting 1 tank from me, so I guess that's all they needed. But that's pretty much what I have there.
Anything else for water and sewer? How's Lee and everything going? Just there's easements and permits that we're still
He
in the
was
middle of
waiting
that.
to hear back on one title search of one property. He expected to get it back. I thought he said this week, so I'm sure he got him already.
Yeah, usually he's pretty quick on stuff like that.
He did inquire like when we wanted to put out for bid, and I said as soon as possible, but not so much that we have to pay more to do it. So
Right.
we don't want to dictate in the dead of winter. So it's a possibility to put it out for bid and
So like with these water main extensions, is that work able to be done in the winter?
Lee said that
As
if
long
you
as there's
get
not a
a,
big freeze
he
or?
said if you get a nice, a week of weather, it's not impossible. And even if it's frozen, it's not undoable, it's just more noise.
Right, right. Okay. Anything else for water and sewer? Streets and alleys?
Main thing there we got going on obviously is leaf collection. We had a little trial run this morning, or actually today, with Steve and Max taking care of the vacuum detail. And I running a dump truck and the backhoe, basically getting the larger piles with the backhoe and a dump truck, and pretty successful actually. We hauled out 11 loads worth of dump truck loads worth of leaves, let alone I think another 6 or 7 loads through the back. So
6 loads.
we had a pretty productive day there. We're gonna keep going because obviously we're behind the 8 ball on that, between them showing up rather quickly and Mother Nature not playing ball with us. Had a couple of small snow events. Well, the one Sunday night, and of course the little one a little bit bigger the week before Thanksgiving. Got through that pretty much unscathed. So that's pretty much where we stand on that.
Anything else for streets and alleys? How are we doing on our motor fuel tax? Do we still have funds there to?
We still have funds there, but
That'll be till next
it
May,
was
though,
it was
right?
pretty much decided that the concrete work that was going to be done, they wanted to do a little more research and really didn't care for the price of some of the bids that came back. So rather than putting that on this slate, we're going to slate that for next year.
Gotcha. Okay. Finance?
I have deposits for the last 2 weeks, $70,017.21. This does include the second half, I'm assuming it's the second half of the real estate taxes of $26,000 to $19.96. And business district tax of $79.75.10.
Question on that, I see that we got our TIF payment. I know that doesn't come every month, it comes quarterly. Right, is that just the TIF for that district? Is that how, is that?
Are you talking about the income or the bill?
The real estate tax from the TIF. Well, they were gonna go hand in hand, because I did see on the claims and accounts that there's a payment for the loan, and I didn't know, that was my next question, how far are we from having that completed? I know that we've already borrowed against it, and the money should be there. It's just a matter of inquiry about how much longer we have with that. I know the TIF
That I'm
ends
not
soon.
Yeah, because I think, was it 2019 or 2020?
I think it's 2020.
I think we have
I
2
think there
or
was
3 years
7,000 left on
to
that.
pay.
Is that what it was? I don't
No,
know.
I can
Yeah,
look
I
at
think
it.
it was 74 or something.
Oh, yeah, and I was thinking 76 or
Yeah.
something.
And is that like a yearly payment we make to the bank for that
Yes.
TIF loan? Okay.
I believe it is.
So we'll make another payment, and then we'll make a partial payment, and we'll have another year and a half of income to spend in the district.
Yes, I was aware after if I remember right, when we extended it the year, we would have the loan paid off and then there would be income for it, like, you said 2 years or something. It was $74.55 for the real estate. I don't know if that's per year or not. Paula, would you know by chance?
That is just one of the partial payments, because we get 2 payments for real estate,
Yeah, I don't know.
for each
We bring
thing.
in,
For the TIF or for
For
the?
the TIF, for both of them, we get one like in August, September, and then the next one comes
And
October,
relative to when
November.
the 2 payments, you know.
Yeah.
And they usually come at the same time because they're both real estate
Yeah.
taxes. Okay.
Yeah, so we get 2 payments, but they're not the exact same amount.
Right.
I think the first one's usually bigger, if I
And I
remember right.
don't-
But I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
I know that we do bring in enough from the TIF every year to pay, yearly 26,000.
Yes. Okay. Anything else for finance?
We have the IMRF CD
Yes.
coming due. We're gonna renew it for another 180 days. Get
I
that
saw that
interest,
email.
get that interest money.
Yeah,
I get $130.
You know, what's interesting, I looked and it was opened in 2007. It was making 3.9%.
What is it
It's
now?
sad. I mean, it's
It was at how much in 2000?
3.9,
What is it now?
If we could do that now, right?
yeah.
Boy, money was hot back then.
Yeah, it was. It's not very much right now. I forgot, don't remember what it was. It's not very much.
Yeah.
On that.
So we have 10 days after maturity to make a,
If we want to do something with it. Otherwise, it just automatically renews.
and what is the council's opinion on what should be done with it? Okay. Is there any public comments on the non-agenda items? Okay, approval of the consent agenda, which will improve the approval of the bills.
J.M. Abbott and Associates, $1,590. Cat Financial, $1,420.87. Erickson Davis and Murphy, $1,410. Farmers Bank, $26,490.74. INB, $12.12. INB Visa, $1,121.36. Milano and Bruno, $2,442.50.
Is there any questions on the claims and accounts?
The extra 90 to Abbott's, that's a one-time thing, right? It's not like a new
Yeah.
monthly fee.
Yes, and I had asked her, she said it was for audit info, and so the bill they sent in, their monthly bill was for September. Estes and Bridgewater was here in October, so I just clarified with her, but she said it was for some reports they prepped to get ready for Estes and Bridgewater for the October, during the October audit. So, which, you know, I thought that was just the $90, I'm just, the other issues that have been going on.
I agree.
But anyway, I just made that point out there, just so everybody was aware of the extra 90, what it was for. But yes, I think it is just the one-time fee.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve, is there a second? Second by Mr. Rittmeister. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. On to miscellaneous business, might as well roll into that since we were speaking on the update of the annual audit. Did everybody get this sheet and had a chance to read over it? So I contacted them it's been a couple weeks ago. Because usually it's done about this time, usually October, November, we're ready to approve the audit and get that sent into the state. With, basically you can read it how, it seems like whenever something was switched to QuickBooks, there was funds that were not matching up, which is gonna cause more work. We have 6 months from the end of our fiscal year to turn in the audit to the state. They have made a 60-day extension request, which was granted by the state. They thought it'd be done in January. With that request, we have to have it turned in by the end of February. So we should be on time with the state. Just bringing everybody up to speed on what's going on with that.
So it's on track to be, the corrections have already been made,
I think they're working on it now.
Yeah.
They said it would take some time.
and then do we have to go through the audit process again, or just update? the
No, once they get all those to match up, then we'll have our presentation. As far as what Valerie told me, then
That's the way I'm
once it's
understanding it.
completed, we won't have to go through it again. They'll have the report.
They're adjusting balances now to get everything in sync, but I don't think they're not gonna come back here and do anything. I think it's all internal work they're doing.
Right.
Does anybody know how much we were off?
I don't.
I don't either.
It wasn't $50,000.
I don't have a clue, I'm sorry.
She just told me that they weren't matching. She didn't seem, from when I talked to Valerie, it didn't seem anything that would cause for alarm. I think it was more from when we changed from the old system to the QuickBooks. There was just things that didn't jive. We had to call Crystal in. She was willing to work with the, she gave the information she had. I think Tricia contacted her when we were aware of the situation. And
Yeah, I don't know if there was something in the conversion that didn't line up right or what. But when I talked to Valerie, that's what she said, is just going back and doing some legwork to get the right information in there, numbers in there.
any other questions on the audit? Approval of funds for the new city vehicle. We talked about that at the last meeting. Matt, would you want to go ahead and, you said you found a couple ones? And
Well, I found a couple. I think one is done since left the building. But I know the amount of funds we got from an insurance claim. I know that number is $7,500. But I don't think we can really get into a decent vehicle at that money. What I would like to see, I'd like to see that number be $10,000. Seems that we already have the $7,500 on hand and have had for several years. I think if we put another $2,500 at it, we can probably find us a decent truck to fill that void. That's basically the approval I'm asking for.
The truck that was wrecked, which department was it?
The truck that got the insurance claim?
Mm-hmm.
Water.
So the 2,500 extra, we just take out of just water?
That's fine. I'm sure that'll fit into the budget line for that.
Yeah, I know. Had plenty there for. I make a motion to approve the extra 2,500 for up to $10,000 for a vehicle purchase.
Motion made by Andrew. Was there a second? Seconded by Joyce. Any further discussion? Roll call, please. As a matter of its appropriating funds, I'd like to make a roll call.
Alderman Knapper.
Yes.
Neville.
Yes.
Tomquist.
Yes.
Brightmeister.
Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the employee pay raises. It was brought to our attention that possibly the terms of hire for when Tony was hired last year, that he would be getting a raise at this time this year. I believe I spoke with Andrew and Aaron about this. Brought to my attention that it'd probably be a good idea if we're going to do that to discuss employee pay raises for everybody. Seeing as how that was kind of skipped over in May when we normally do approach that. We were having some some budget issues right there, and we just kind of swept it under the rug. Whether or not we think Tony is owed that, or if that's the terms of hire, is entirely up to us. I believe that it is. At the same time, I don't think it's fair to give Tony a raise and not at least, visit the fact that since we didn't give the rest of the employees one in May, that we address that matter now. We can speak about it now and approve any percentage of raise, or we can table it. I can assign a committee to look into that. That's entirely up to the council.
I'm in favor of raises. In the budget financial statement we got, we're under budget on. I know we had a doom and gloom lookout of everything, but
It ended up not being that bad. I agree with you.
we're okay. So, I think excluding Tony from the percentage, but I would propose a 3% increase for our employees.
3?
Tony's, again, is excluded from that. His was fixed in the.
His was fixed. We have a copy of that sheet, correct, with what that number should be?
I have that. I don't have it
I
on
have
me.
one.
I
It's
will.
on- it's on.
It
I
was.
can get it too real quick if
It
you
was
want.
roughly 3% also, but I don't think the number was exactly 3%.
Give me a second.
whatever was agreed to a year ago when we hired Tony. I welcome others' input.
So we need to do a two-part, agree on Tony's terms of hire and also agree on the.
I think that would be a good idea, Aaron. Good call on that. Thank you.
Did you make a motion? I don't think I did.
I don't think that there was a motion made, no. Let's wait till Paula gets that.
So who wants this?
I'll take it. So stating this is, and Andrew, you were the one that wrote this up, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I'll pass it around. It looks like this is just something that came along with what we thought might have been the terms of hire for Tony. It looks like he will get a $3,200 increase, which would be different than the 3% that you were proposing. That's why we should probably make two motions. Let's give everyone a chance to look at that. That was sent out in an email a couple weeks ago.
I have one question.
Yes.
For the raises, that would include Sandy as well?
Just the full-time employees.
If I might add, with all due respect, she was hired in February of 2014 and has not had a raise. And I just think she deserves one, so.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Pardon me?
That is up for discussion as well.
Yeah,
We might as well
okay.
address the matter while we're here.
Yeah, definitely.
My opinion is to include the part-time employees also.
Okay, which would include Sandy and Steve.
Yep.
Okay.
And the cleaning lady, is she employed by us?
That's on a contract. It's per occurrence. It's not by hour.
Yeah, no, I think.
She's not on our
No.
payroll, so, okay.
No, it's more of it's a service.
Yeah, it's like
You pay for a
it's like,
service.
Abbott's or Crystal Curran or whoever. I
Okay.
think it's just contract labor. So
I
would
excluded
say-
Abbott's from my discussion.
I agree with it.
What'd you say?
I exclude Abbott's.
We're on a contract with them. We're not giving a single cent more than what we agreed.
Does anybody? I like it. Do you have an opinion?
I just think we need to vote on the terms of hire, approve that, reapprove that, make sure we're all on the same page. I mean, we approved it when we hired them.
Yep. I'll do that now. I make a motion to approve the terms of hire and continue with that, but
Chance for everyone to look at it and make sure Daryl knows what's going on with it.
good idea.
I feel like you weren't here, but you've seen it now.
Motion has been made to reiterate those terms of hire and give Police Chief Tony West a $3,200 a year increase in salary. Motion made by Andrew. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Rittmeister. Roll call, please.
Lemon Canauer,
Yes.
Maxheimer,
Yes.
Noble,
Yes.
Tomquist,
Yes.
Rittmeister.
Motion passes. And in regards to the full-time employees and the two part-time employees, is there a motion that would like to be made there?
I'll make,
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion, for a 3% increase, including the two part-time.
Motion for a 3% increase in wages. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Joyce. Roll call, please.
Lemon Alderman Canower,
Yes.
Maxheimer,
Yes.
Neville,
Yes.
Conquest,
Yes.
Burmeister.
Yes.
Motion passes. Is there any other miscellaneous business?
Has the matter been reconciled with the former employee
Yes,
about debt?
yes. He signed an agreement for a monthly payment. The only thing I have is the Economic Development Board met last night. Right now, we're focusing on the website. That came on a sense of urgency from the business builders, the people that built the website. Been kind of hard dealing with them. Basically, they said that they're on a time schedule and that even though they haven't really responded to our request, it needed to launch, otherwise they were going to charge us an extra fee. It's launched now. I would suggest getting on there as best you can, because hearing about the next month, well, we'll relaunch the soft launch of the beta, however that works out, or whatever you need to say on that. The problems that, if you see a grammatical error, I know that a lot of them have already been addressed. Certain things in there we're going to take out, and that's more of just, basically we're looking for input on the surfing of it, the design of it, because now would be the time to change that, because once we go forward with it, they'll come and they'll train anybody that needs to be trained on changing stuff or adding stuff to the website, and then from there, any changes we need that are major, there'll be a fee with that. So,
Kelly, have they reached out to you to get like all the minutes from,
Yeah, they're on there.
even like up till 2 months ago?
Yep, they're all on there. I gave them to Hillary a couple months ago, maybe.
yeah, they should be all on that.
I say, whenever I check, after I think we got that email, they were on there.
Yes, they are.
The ones that were on the site now, the old site, January, February, March, I don't think are on there. I think it's just the ones that I sent her from April till the ones that were approved are on there.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
But
So we can all be on
I
there.
think January, February, March, we're still on the current one that we had before that one was launched.
Is it on the new one? Okay, great. I will make sure to put those. Is there any other miscellaneous business to discuss?
I just had on the pay raise, effective date would be what?
December 1.
December 1, okay.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Where do we stand on the collecting for legal helping?
So he was up here today. That was discussed in executive session at the last meeting. I should have said that, but I did. I've since got his number, and he was up here to talk about it tonight. That's on me. From what Jordan said, the fine was set at $500, and it's kind of up to me to try to get that from him by, when they're talking to the state's attorney, forming papers ourselves, which would incur attorney fees. At this time, I decided that I'm not going to pursue any more legal action against him. I just need to sit down and talk to him about a payment plan or possible work. The work that would be entailed would have nothing to do with the public work department or the police. What I thought, since he's on disability, I thought maybe the best case thing would be maybe to clean the office. I know it's already cleaned, but at least we're getting something. I still need to talk to him about that. That has not been resolved, but I will try to work on that, Doug. Thank you.
Did we get the sign updated?
I'm designing a new one. Or unless you just want me
Is
to,
it bigger with flashing lights?
anything for you,
Can be.
Andrew. It can be. Sky's the limit, come on.
Is there any headway on the slides?
I have not heard. I haven't seen him up yet.
No.
I know more.
There's questions on how to order them, whether we use the city's credit card or whatnot, so I believe her plan is the Hilltop Club themselves is getting a debit card or whatever, so.
She said they had one they could use and had
Yeah.
enough money in
And
there
they're-
to cover it.
Yeah.
Then
so they're
my
gonna-
card wouldn't cover that.
They can meet tomorrow night, but she wanted to get their approval before she put much money in the card. It's gonna get They'll get ordered, it'll be a push before they get done before, for sure.
And we're not gonna ever use the ones that we got, they're outdated, crappy. Or no.
What I found is you don't question women on deck.
I said, we didn't take up a lot of that, not that it's important space now, but we need to get rid of some of it.
I don't know, we
The
could,
wiring
that's
and
something
the
to
glass,
address.
the plastic lenses, are you talking about the old ones? Yeah.
But I don't know, they,
From the way the grant was written and the way the determination was made, the lights will belong to the city when it's done. So it's not like we're buying these for the Hilltop Club. They'll be our property.
you know, we can put them up for sale, at the next Christmas.
Yeah. Is there any further discussion on any business? Any more public comments?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Like,
Second by Aaron. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. No, I don't need it. No, you can keep that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Paula.
See, we got rid of that one car next door to they kept it.
So Tim was talking about the new guy that did it for the library. His name's Evan.
So nobody's living
For the lighting company out in Bloomington. He's scheduled to come at the beginning of next year to do an assessment.
I talked to him, and I was like, something about the going tires, there's two flat tires, the sticker's bad, and so they got rid of them.
Because I was like, well, does that mean that we pay you and then we got?
Been nice to get rid of it years ago.
He said, no,
And the
we'll
house.
get Ameren, we'll pay him, and then they'll send us a bill for like a fraction of the amount, so.
No,
He's
it's
got to
part
do
of
the
the,
assessment. He's
part
also
of
gonna
the
do
estate,
streetlights on
isn't
the
it,
square.
probably for,
It's free of charge for the assessment.
oh,
But he
what's
said
it?
if it's like, it's T8s, which I think was T8s, they'll
But
pay like
But
$75.
when you look at, when you look online for taxes, it still shows the guy
So
that
if
passed
they're
away.
T12s, he thought we'd get 50.
So I don't even know if it's gone into
But
an
I'm
estate, or
very
it's
interested
just sitting there and nobody's doing nothing.
Because those are old.
Well, and he's.
I'm just gonna get an
Have you
assessment.
seen the LEDs now? They're like, a lot, I mean, they're bright street lights, but like some people don't like, they, you know, they shine down, but they, everything.
Well, I think
else-
that's under Tom, the son.
I don't know
That's
what's
under
playing
Tom.
around
Tom,
square.
That
Tom
one,
Martin,
you,
he's
still
looking
under
at
like
like
senior. I mean,
Doesn't matter.
We're not gonna redo these street lights without a plan, you know, to make sure that, because we're gonna put that kind of stretch, we need to make sure we have a plan and everyone's on board with what we're doing.
Yeah, right.
Ideally, we could include that before, like the concrete work and.
not worried about it.
Yeah.
Yes, and I would like to use
That
that.
stinks for a guy like him who lives next door to it. Never get anybody
Ideally,
living
that's
there,
kind of what
never anybody
our
up
plan
there.
is, so.
Right.
Gotta shut themselves. You would have done that, you would have plenty tonight. I can talk to some other people.
Oh, the lawn tractors?
It's a group effort and joint decision, so I don't care how long it takes, we'll just make sure we pick the right one.
Right now, I'm sure.
Well, that's all right.